Do you ever look online and you see people who have huge followings and are making many millions of dollars every single month and you wonder how they got there? Well, I've got somebody on my show that I interviewed and I asked him a question like, before you got there, what were you doing? And he revealed that he actually had a secret pen name that he was using in order to get himself out there because he was so embarrassed about his own name. So you want to keep watching because it's really interesting what that name is and how he came up with it.
The Content Capitalist Podcast.
I think a lot of people really look up to you because of what you've done with video. Tell me, what were you doing before the Peng Joon that we know existed?
So for a really long time, all I wanted to do is remain anonymous and make money online. And I think that for many people, that might be the case as well. And I know personally for me, when I first started, I never wanted to be doing this meaning podcast, live events, stages, virtual events, because that was something that was extremely uncomfortable for me. And so all I did back then was I wanted to back then there was no such thing as videos. It wasn't a requirement. And all you needed to do to monetize online is to have a good sales letter. And with a good sales letter, you'll be able to, with a decent offer, you'll be able to make money online. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't think that anybody would buy from me. On top of that, I never even thought somebody would buy from a person named Peng Joon. So I created this pen name, Tony Sanders. You know that story. I basically took Tony Robbins and Colonel Sanders and I merged these two names together. And for a really long time, that was the pen name that I utilized to market digital products in the gaming space. And that's how I started. All I wanted to do is to understand what's required in order to convert through a sales letter. But it's because of that skill set that I discovered in that journey, it eventually helped me build up my level of confidence. And that was when eventually video became a thing. That's what allowed me to initially experiment with content creation on video.
You know, sometimes you see someone who's doing something really successful and you feel like that's completely out of reach. But what if it's somebody that you know and they're doing something amazing? And here's a belief that's really interesting. What if you're only 1/10 as good as them? In other words, this person's doing great, but they're 10 times better than you. Would that still be okay? Now, the way you want to think about this is, what if that person is earning $1 million a month and they're 10 times better than you? That means that you could be earning $100,000 a month. Now, that's a thought process that helped a lot of entrepreneurs get started. And that's what Peng Joon's going to walk us through in this next section. When you first started internet marketing, why did you go into gaming? And you said that was your go-to, right? Why that?
Well, that's how I started, because when I first started out, I didn't think I had a strength. I didn't think I was good in anything. But from all of the digital products and ebooks that I bought at that time, they all said, oh, you got to learn how to sell something online. You got to find out what your niche is. And like, what's a niche? Like, how do I? So I remember doing some due diligence, and I saw this guy called Luke Brown, and apparently he made over $1 million selling a digital product on how to teach people making gold in World of Warcraft. And I was like, $1 million. And at that time, to me, it's like, if I can do 10% of what he's doing, I would be retiring here in Malaysia like a king. So I thought, maybe I'm not as smart as this guy, but if I can do 10% of what he's doing, I'm set. And that's what got me started. It gave me the belief that, hey, if I can do 10% of what he's doing and sell this $7 product, and that's how I started with my first ever digital product.
Now, the first question that a lot of people who are brand new to internet marketing, here's what they're going to ask: how much money can I make? Now, the answer is very, very loaded because there's just no clear answer. There's a million ways to make money and different opportunities. So Peng Joon is going to break down here exactly how he looks at how much you can potentially make and how much he is specifically making in his business right now. Tell me a bit about how much your business is doing as a result of the content.
Here's how this works right now. How much money you make from this is going to be dependent on, well, how good your offer is, how deep your sales process is, and how well of that sales process do you have, right? But if you have an offer in any type of sales process or a funnel, number one, it gives you different ad creatives that's going to combat ad fatigue because of this angle, this methodology. Your ad engagement is going to be significantly higher. Therefore, it is going to bring down your cost per lead, or the cost it takes to acquire a customer. And these type of factors can literally make or break an entire business model. So how much money you make is going to be highly dependent on your offer, your funnel, and all of that. So while I can't put a number to it, what I can say is, for us, it gives us a lot of different ways for us to split test. On the surface level, in terms of likes, engagements, right? That doesn't translate to monetization, but on the top of the funnel, it's good to getting discovered. On top of that, it is a process that helps you create these different marketing assets that works for you for life.
What mistake are you seeing people make when they make content?
Here's the number one mistake that I believe people make when it comes to content creation is that they focus on this aspect of their business first without thinking about, well, what's the end game to doing this? And even if they were to do well on that thing and they get the followers, the likes, the engagements, they have no idea like what happens next. Where I call them, broke influencers, where there's a lot of influencers out there. They've got the following, they've got the likes, the comments, the engagements, but they don't really know how to monetize. And the way to monetize is usually through endorsements where, a brand will approach them and say, could you post this thing on your Instagram and say this is an amazing thing and take a selfie with it and doing this post and then get paid, whatever, right? So to me, that's not a business. Pimping out your name and your brand is not a business. You want to think about, well, if I am going to be doing this thing long term, where am I sending these viewers or clicks to? Like what's the purpose of this? And you got to be very clear about the reason why you're creating the content, and not just doing it for the sake of likes and engagements, because that's not going to mean anything.
I think a lot of people have been watching the top of the top on social media when it comes to business. People like Grant Cardone, people like Gary Vee, people who have media empires and a whole army or a team of people following them around with cameras producing everything. But how do you bridge a gap from where you are right now, where you're probably just using your phone to shoot the stuff, and to where they are? So we're going to dive into that. Like, how do you get from where you are to where they are, or should you even do that? So if someone's like a business owner and they've got a company that's working and they know that video is going to help them, when do you advise they should hire someone to help them versus learning how to control the camera and edit the videos and everything themselves?
Look, every business owner should just focus on what it is that they're good at. And if that person feels that, hey, I have no idea how to handle the tech, the editing, like leave it to the pros. The worst thing you can do is try to figure out these type of things where it's going to cost you more time, resources, and eventually your sanity. So the answer would be, just get people who specialize in doing that thing well to have that sorted for you.
I've been to a lot of conferences, I've spoken to experts, and everybody kind of says the same thing. They talk about SEO, hashtags, they talk about the thumbnails, they talk about everything to do with the beginning, the hook, and the ending. But there's one element that I've only heard one person talk about, and that element is called the bridge. Now, the bridge is something that Peng Joon has utilized to make many millions of dollars in his business, and he's going to break down for you exactly what is the bridge and how can you use it in your content. I want to ask, what's something that's working really well for you right now as far as content distribution or reach or conversion? Is there something that you can give my audience a bit of a sneak preview or a peek into what's going on in your secret labs or your factory?
Putting that strategy in place by having a process is crucial. If not, you could drive everybody else insane, including yourself. And the reason for that, it's like because there's just so many things that needs to be done. There's a lot of moving parts. The thing that I will recommend is, number one, put it into a system. Whether it's Trello, whether it's Monday, whether it's ClickUp, utilize some sort of software to help you and your team to see what's going on, so that when you move from one stage to another, everybody has a bird's eye view of what's happening. Then the next one would be like when you shoot it, you want to think about, okay, once I shoot that video, can I link that thing to the bridge, right? What's the bridge? What's the transition? What's the story? And then to what offer it's for.
If there's one thing you could do differently at a certain stage in your business, as far as content goes, what could you think of that you do differently?
I would say I wished we started earlier, and I wished I put in more emphasis on YouTube at the start. When we were doing this together, all of our content was all purely in Facebook. And I realized that if at that point in time, we thought about, optimizing it for the long term, making it on YouTube today, I know that all those videos that's on Facebook that has probably, that's vanished, because of how the algorithm works, it would still be living today on YouTube, getting passive views, clicks, that would still be working as an asset if we did, we made that tiny shift back then.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that recap of the conversation I had with Peng Joon about how he made his millions using content on social media. So if you want to watch the full episode, 1 hour with all the nitty-gritty details, you want to click right around here and you'll be able to access that full video. And I'll see you next time.